3 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. I'm calling to order the June 13th, 2025 Tumwater City Council Finance and Budget and Finance Committee meeting. So with roll call, I believe we have everyone here. So we will dispense with roll call. And I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Brittany. Brittany will go through some items, and then we will review the process. But first, first we'll do the approval of the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee meeting on May 23rd. So do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 23rd meeting?
So moved.
Here's a second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Althauser, and I think Councilmember Swarthout seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. All right, the minutes are approved. Now I will go ahead and turn it over to Brittany McClanahan.
Thank you, Mayor. Hi, council members and staff and guests. Today we're meeting to discuss the recommendation for the City Council for the 2025 Human Services Program funding. This program was established to reserve a portion of funds for local organizations that provide human services to Tumwater residents. So I see that we have most of our applicants online, so we just ask that you please keep your video off and your audio muted until you're called upon. We're going to try to stick to the schedule, and we actually might be a couple minutes ahead already, but I do see our first applicant online, which is Tumwater Education Foundation. So Justine, if you'd like to take it away.
Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm Justine Capra, and I'm the secretary of the Tumwater Education Foundation. I'm here to be talking about the Principals Emergency Fund, and thank you, Mayor and other budget committee members. So a little bit about our foundation. We have approximately 6 volunteers and other members at large as well. We're all volunteers, as I mentioned, and we are continually recruiting and strengthening our foundation. We have presented before you in the years past, and we appreciate the past support that you've provided. So to talk about our foundation, the Tumwater Education Foundation, we offer quite a few programs for students and staff within the Tumwater School District. One of the programs that we provide is a memorial scholarship. That opportunity is for graduating students, and it provides money for the graduating students in the Tumwater School District. It honors the students, families, and community members. We also provide classroom enrichment grants twice a year. Teachers in the classrooms can apply for money to fund projects that are not or past their classroom budget allocation. Students of all grades, again, in the Tumwater School District, benefit from that classroom enrichment grant. And then the main focus for today is our Principals Emergency Fund. In 2016, we expanded our foundation, and it included the Principals Emergency Fund. This fund helps to remove common barriers for students to maximize their full potential. The goal of this program is to see a need and meet a need. We fundraise yearly. We host an annual breakfast in the fall and a spring fling, and we're also finding other opportunities as we speak. We also are thankful for the support of individuals and community members to help this program continue. Our next breakfast is September 15th, 2025. I think that's the correct date, and I can share that with you. Oh, I'm getting a head nod from another member. So in October, we have another breakfast, and we'll provide that exact date, and it's at the ESD office. So the money that we fundraise is distributed equally to each school in the Tumwater School District. If schools use it, you can always come back and ask for more, but we've just evenly distributed it amongst all the schools. The principals of each school are in charge of that money, and they use the money to provide basic emergent needs such as clothing, medical care, food or shelter, or any other barriers that restrict the students from maximizing their full potential. We have modeled our program similar to the Olympia Education Foundation as well as the North Thurston Education Foundation, and they have successfully been running their programs for years. As I mentioned, we fundraise annually, and I guess I mentioned this already, we receive funds from individual businesses, individual people, and we seek other grant opportunities. Walmart Foundation here locally in Tumwater has been a great supporter as well. So we have some statistics, and I don't have it in a slide, and I apologize for that, but for last year, and it continually yearly, it shows that our emergent housing is the #1 need that the students are addressing in our schools. So last year we had 7,000, or 2023, 2024, we had $7,000 that went out towards housing. Clothing was our second at 2,800. Utility assistance is 2,300. Fees is 1,900, and food is 1,800. Looking at our numbers this year, housing again was #1. We've served more students this year than in the years past, which we're grateful for, but also it just continues to show the need and the the validity of our organization, of how we're still touching more and more students every year. So that's a high-level overview, and I'm wondering if you have any questions at this time.
Does anyone have any questions? Great. I think we're somewhat familiar with the program, and I believe you got funds last year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Councilmember Swarthout.
And I just need to say that I serve on this board as well, so I'll be recusing myself from the vote on this one. So thank you.
Great, thank you. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Excellent. I think we're going to end up getting through this faster than what we anticipate. So we will make discussion, and then the final item will go through City Council, so for their approval.
Excellent. Well, thank you again. Thank you for this opportunity.
You bet. Thank you. All right. I have Safe Place next on the agenda. Are they ready to go?
Yes.
Oh, welcome. So go
Hi.
ahead and describe what it is your application is doing.
Sure. My name is Ryan, the development director at Safe Place. Just like to thank the council members, City of Tumwater, Brittany, and your team for organizing this. If you're not familiar with us, we're an Olympia-based nonprofit that serves survivors of sexual and domestic violence in all of Thurston County. We host Thurston County's only confidential DV shelter. Along with that, we have myriad programs. We have a community services team that provides drop-in advocacy throughout the week. They do legal advocacy with clients that are going to court, looking for protection orders, custody issues, divorces, things like that. We have a housing team that helps both our shelter clients and other survivors get into stable, safe housing, whether it be permanent or relocating them to a safe housing unit of their choosing. And we have a prevention team that goes out and works in schools in Thurston County, teaches students about healthy boundaries, consent, and encourages them and builds them up to be peer leaders amongst themselves. So we're very grateful for the City of Tumwater. I've been in my position for 2 years now, and each of the last 2 years we've gotten some funding from you, so thank you. And really, we're just trying to continue that trend. Any money that you're able to help us with this year will go towards client assistance. And the biggest need that we see with our clients is a need for gift cards, because those can be multifaceted, used for many different things. As I'm sure we're all aware, transportation is a huge barrier to services. So folks can use these gift cards for gas. That can take them to court appointments, that can take them to job interviews, to go look at houses or apartments. So these are all vital resources that our clients need to reach safety and stability. Also, they can use these gift cards for food. They can use these gift cards for school supplies for their children, for attire, for a job interview, etc. Really, when we get survivors coming into our program, everyone that's fleeing violence is technically homeless, and in many situations with domestic violence, there's typically some sort of financial control that is happening. So survivors often don't have any income. They don't have any reliable money to help them reach safety and stability. So, like I say, client assistance is our biggest need. When clients come through our doors, immediately they could use these things right off the top. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. That's my presentation, I suppose. I also don't have a PowerPoint or anything, but if anyone has any questions, please let me know.
Any questions? So I already anticipating one question that we'll probably get like during council meeting. And that will be, you know, because this is like Tumwater funds,
Sure.
and making sure Tumwater residents
Sure.
apply. So is that something you're able to do to make sure it's Tumwater? I know that's probably a little more difficult. But
Yeah, no, that's a great question. In the past, and sorry, I think I should have clarified. Yes, we will try and direct folks. It's kind of an interesting thing. In the past, we've requested funds for specific services like car maintenance. And with that funding, we've tried to direct folks directly to Tumwater services. But what we found is that it's not always easy to connect those clients with those providers. And because we are in Thurston County, because we host Thurston County's only confidential DV shelter, we do think that ultimately we will have clients that are from Tumwater. We don't necessarily track that information when folks come into our program, though. So it is kind of a nebulous thing where we are, you know, within the same community, but to be able to guarantee that folks will only go to the Tumwater Safeway, that's hard for us to say.
yeah, and I totally understand, and especially with confidentiality.
Yeah.
But I can only assume that some of the clients that come to your facility, I'm pretty sure would be. I don't think that Tumwater is immune from having those kinds of issues. So I'm
Yes.
pretty sure that you receive some people that are actually Tumwater residents. So
Yes, exactly.
yeah. So, but I understand that would be really hard to silo out
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But I just know that that question will come up. So
Sure.
I just wanted to make sure.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So any questions from council members? Again, yeah, we're familiar with the programs and really appreciate all the work that you do. So great, thank you. And you will be
Thank
hearing back from
Okay.
us.
Thank you so much, everyone.
You bet. All right, we are really getting through this quickly. So let's see, the next organization is Big Brothers Big Sisters. I believe, okay, Keith Ann Campbell, I believe is the next one.
Yes, that's me. Hello, I'm Keith Ann Campbell. I am the executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters. We serve 5 counties, including Thurston. That's our biggest county. We are obviously seeking to change the lives of children who are facing adversity, and we operate in communities, rural and urban, and we've done so for about 40 years in this area. Our unique brand of one-to-one mentoring carefully matches a child with an adult who is trained to work with them. And we help children achieve success in school, help them avoid risky behaviors, and help them get access to things they wouldn't have had before. And this includes improving their self-confidence. We used evidence-based programs to support the children and their families to promote overall well-being. And we do career-connected different activities with the kids, and we also concentrate on mental health and improving them in their lives. I think the important thing to note for this area is we have a mental health crisis. Obviously, I think everybody knows about that. We also have a funding crisis. The funding that we've received for almost 10 years from the state was cut this year. And that was funded through OSPI, which is where we did our funding, where we would go to different schools and coordinate activities between middle school and elementary school students with high school students and help them develop their social emotional states. Anyway, with that being said, we've been working in Tumwater for several years, and we work with Peter G. Schmidt, and we are expanding our services to Bush Middle School this fall. We've learned that there's a lot of problems with substance abuse and fighting in that area, so we're trying to help those kids more. But what we would specifically use our money for, as I stated, we got our funding cut completely out of OSPI, and we have a staff of about 8 over those 5 counties. And it's very difficult to provide really good services to all the children in 5 counties. And I think a lot of times people think about what kinds of things are important for children and what are the most important things that we fund at this time. Big Brothers and Big Sisters has been around for over 100 years across the country. And they recently did a study with the Department of the Treasury Department and with Harvard studies. And they have found that over those years, the children who had grown up with mentors ended up making 1/3 more than their families where they came from. So it's an essential program to help support those kids, but especially now, their mental health is just, it's horrible with the political environment, with everything that's going on, thinking about their futures. So it's just essential that we support them now more than ever. And as far as funding from Tumwater, I would say probably about 1/3 of our kids that we support are in the Tumwater area for Thurston. Our program is very strong there. It's robust, and we want to grow it. We don't want to shrink it. So we're looking at any kinds of avenues for funding, just anything that we can do to support our staff and not lose staff, because the services we're doing right now, they're working. We're getting really good results back, and we just don't want to see that go away. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? Councilmember Swarthout.
Hi, I used to serve on the Tumwater Hopes Committee, and I know that the Bigs were an important part of that program as far as, but it's been a while since I've served that committee, and so I was curious about some of the funding that the Tumwater Hopes was able to provide to Bigs to be able to help do some of the programming, because I think there were 2 different programs that I think that they offered. We were doing the 4-H and then also the Bigs. So I was curious again, sorry.
That's okay.
The status of that with you now. So
I'm glad you asked. We just partnered with them again. I think somehow we lost touch with them over the COVID area, and we went several years without it. But this last year, they have contacted us to partner with them, and that's why we're growing into Bush. They're going to be able to fund us, like, I think $12,000 for the next year, which is it's enough for that site right there.
okay. So 12,000 from Tumwater Hopes. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? And you do, and I attended your breakfast earlier.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, and then you have the place over by Tumwater High School, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have a very large presence in Tumwater, and we really appreciate that. So
Thank you. We're trying. We're partnering with Together to do a golf tournament on August 21st as well, and partnering with them on services, honestly, because our kiddos really need everything they can get right now.
yeah. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much for coming and attending. And
Thank you.
You bet. Wow, we're really just zooming right through this. CeeLo, are you ready to go? Thank you. Hello.
Hello, yes, we are. And I'm going to attempt to share my screen. So let's see if this uh, Friday the 13th keeps going smoothly. And let's see. Can everybody see that?
Yes, we can.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, I'm Carla Ramirez Tenori. I am the Executive Director for Cielo, and this is the first time that my understanding is that Cielo is coming to City of Tumwater for some support. So we have been around Thurston County, Mason, and Lewis since 1996, and we were founded by just grassroots organizers from Tumwater and Lacey, actually looking to fill a gap in service, and we're still here, and we're happy to be here. So currently what Cielo provides are 3 pillars of support specifically for Tumwater families and all families in Thurston County, but it is under the umbrella of education. So we do ESL and Spanish literacy classes. We're also offering Learn Spanish classes for those wanting to learn Spanish because it's something that a lot of people are asking for. We do job readiness and digital skills, letting folks know and engage in education on digital navigation. We also do entrepreneurship and civic engagement support. So that's something that we're doing in partnership with other local organizations here so that folks can become self-sufficient. We have lots of resources for direct service, emergency aid. We provide rent, utilities, and food assistance. We have a food bank once a month out of our Olympia office, where we have several of our Tumwater families engage on a monthly basis, as well as a diaper bank. We have multilingual case management and system navigation. We also do advocacy for victims of crime, domestic violence, sexual violence, and displacement. And then our pillar of cultural support, where we have Indigenous language access and preservation, healing spaces and support circles, and outreach to rural communities, because we know it's very difficult for folks to have access to resources if we do not meet them where they are. We're trusted, inclusive, regardless of status or income, and we've been around since 1996. We're coming to you today more so to ask to help us meet the urgent needs. Cielo has seen an increase in Tumwater families requesting support. This funding, any funding support, would help us to provide, continue to provide emergency support for families at risk of eviction and utility shutoffs. We see folks moving into eviction notices and 3-day eviction notices quite often, as well as utility shutoffs. We're offer bilingual case management along with the navigation for that, housing, health, and legal systems, understanding their housing rights, moving into mediation with landlords, and understanding the eviction process. We also ensure that there's trauma-informed and culturally rooted services for those often excluded from traditional resources. And the dispute resolution organization locally here has been a great help with that. In 2024, Cielo supported about 1,200 individual families regionally. Over 200 of those were Tumwater families, not something that we expected, but something that is rising here in recent years. And those families are facing housing instability, poverty, and system barriers, just not really understanding how to access services or going to other nonprofits that don't have the linguistic support necessary for them to access those resources. So many of the trusted nonprofits in the area actually reach out to us to do a lot of the cultural navigation and language access for them, and we're happy to do that. And so why it matters is just, as you all know, the rising impact of not only just housing costs, but also job loss. We're seeing lots of family having to choose between moving towards paying funeral expenses or paying rent that month. We're seeing lots of families losing their jobs and having to choose, between fixing their car or going to work and making those difficult decisions. So we've been able to partner with lots of landlords in the Tumwater area to come up with a payment plan to restore financial stability for the family, while also ensuring that we are keeping the landlord relationship in a positive light so that both parties can continue on in support of not displacing any further families. So your investment really in Cielo is to keep the lights on for folks, families warm and cool during the summer and warm during the winter, and ensuring that they're, housing stable. And that's it for us. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions? Councilmember Swarthout.
Thank you for your presentation. I'm hearing this common theme as we're going through this as far as the need for housing in our community.
Yeah.
Yikes. So, but I appreciate your effort in there as well. You saw, we do, unfortunately, I wish we had tons of money. I wish there was a lot. And so sometimes we'll ask our applicants, like, will, any amount, if we like divvy everything up, is that you're okay with? Yeah. So I just want to be sure that, even if it's not the full request, that you'd be able to utilize what we're able to be able to distribute. So I just want to, double check with you on that. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for doing so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think like everybody here, anything helps. And I think even a smaller amount can support somebody not having their utility shut off, or even offering, an opportunity to say, we'll give you a certain amount of the rent if we can do some payments over time. So just having money to leverage that conversation makes a big difference for a family. Thank you.
Right. Any other questions? Councilmember Althauser?
Yeah, so for utility shutoffs, like we have an anti-shutoff program with the city for city utilities. Is your program mostly geared towards like electrical bills, natural gas bills, things that aren't within the jurisdiction of more public entities where there are, programs to help with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Is that the most common type of utility, that like electricity and gas?
Yeah, electricity and gas is the most common. We also have trash service,
Okay.
so refuse service that comes due pretty often, and so then it could pile up. And so sometimes we help families either end their service and do a weekly pickup to take to the local refuse disposal area until they can restore service. But that's one that we see often as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Next is Garden Raised Bounty. Do we have Savannah here?
Yeah, hi, that's me. Give me just 1 minute here to get to a good place.
Not a problem. We are way ahead of schedule. Do you want me to come back to you?
No, it's okay. The only thing is that I am, well, first of all, I'm having issues with my camera. I might not be able to get my camera.
If you would like, I can go to the next one and have you come back. I think I might have lost. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and go to together, if that's all right, and then we will come back to Garden Raised Bounty. So are we together ready?
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, all right.
Pardon me. It's my day off, so I'm kind of squeezing this in while I'm out and about.
Okay.
So if it's too noisy or something, let me know.
All right, you can go ahead and we'll do together right after your presentation.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having all of us here to share about all of the awesome work that we get to do. I'm excited to tell you about the work I get to do at Grub. My name is Savannah. At Grub, I am the Garden Project Manager. So at Grub, our mission is healthy food, healthy people, and healthy community. The Garden Project, like I said, that's what I get to oversee. That is a program where we build free backyard food gardens for low-income folks in the community. We serve folks up to an hour from Grub. And each spring, we build anywhere between 35 and 40 backyard gardens, some of those being in Tumwater. At Grub, we have a number of different programs that all work towards food sovereignty. Everybody deserves to have access to fresh, healthy food. And the Garden Project brings not only an opportunity to grow your own food and eat your own food, but all of the community that you get to share, that you get to build around it. I don't know about you, I've never met a gardener who doesn't have zucchini to share. So we have folks growing their own food, and our secret, our hidden agenda is building community. I know personally I've built so much community just from sharing plants and sharing produce and everything. So with funds from the city of Tumwater, that allows us to extend our reach even further and support folks in Tumwater. This past spring, we were able to build one garden in Tumwater, and it was for an elder. And she found out about it from some of her neighbors who also have gotten grub gardens and shared things with her. And so now they've started this whole little garden squad where they kind of share things amongst each other. We get gardeners who have such a variety of gardening experience, from I've never grown a plant in my life to I have been a master gardener for 50 years, right? So we want to really support people in being as successful as possible out in their gardens. So we don't just build them these gardens and fill them with soil and then say best of luck to ya. We also provide people with free plant seeds and plant starts. At our grub farm, we do have a free community seed shed, and that is accessible to anybody at any time. It's never locked up, and folks can wander by any hour, day or night, and grab as many seeds as they want. And they're always free. Don't have to write your name down or anything. This year, we were able to grow a whole bunch of plant starts for folks. We had an amazing intern from Evergreen University who sort of oversaw that part of the project, and she got I think over 80 different varieties of plants started, several hundred plants, and folks can come to the farm and go shopping, quote unquote shopping, it's all free, in our greenhouse. And we also take them with us when we do the garden builds for folks to choose from, and they take as many as they want, and again, all free. Yeah, so some of the plants, we take a little, we have folks do in their application, we have them add a little part for what kinds of things they want to grow and what kind of things they want to eat. And so we try to gear our plant starts towards that. So this year we had things like tomatoes, snap peas, leafy greens, spicy peppers, artichokes, cucumbers, herbs, flowers, and literally so much more. And we tried to really gear it towards what people are interested in growing. One of the other really beautiful things about the community garden project is the folks who build the gardens. So there's myself and one other staff at Grub who oversee this program. But on top of that, we also had a really awesome season this year with several different interns. We had 2 Evergreen interns, and one of them just was gangbusters. They going on all the garden builds, and it was a really amazing opportunity seeing both of them learning things and sharing skills that they already had, and getting to know gardeners and building community themselves. We also had an intern, one of our youth interns for our youth program, also with us this season. And he was with us for about a month, went on all the builds and learned how to use power tools and how to, things about like how to be prepared for your job and all of that. So that's another really cool facet of that, where we're building gardens and we're doing that, but we're also the folks building it get something out of it as well. So we also have like community volunteers that help with building these gardens too. And of course, garden recipients, whether they want to or not is up to them. There's no requirement for how much they have to build in order to get a garden. Another thing that we do for our garden recipients is we do monthly free gardening workshops. We do them every month, and they are open to everybody, not just our gardeners, and they are about things that are going to be relevant in your backyard garden. So things like compost, we just did something about pollinators, things about native plants in our area too, because there's food all around us. And we bring in other folks who so kind of providing leadership opportunities for folks who are experts in different things and want to bring those skills to the table and share them with the Grub community. We do some community garden work as well. We just built a community garden in Olympia, and it is also supporting a low-income community. The year previous, we built 3 community gardens in tiny house villages downtown. And as far as how, like a number of how many folks these gardens reach, it would be impossible to count. Like I said, I've never met a gardener who doesn't have zucchini to share. So even though there might only be one person in a household who's receiving that garden, it's gonna touch so many more lives than that, and just go well above and beyond that. yes, I think that's my spiel. I don't know how that was time wise, but yeah. Do we have any questions?
So I think you were great on time. Any
Oh.
questions? Councilmember Althauser.
So there's, you mentioned kind of one backyard project that was in Tumwater. Do you sort of expect that with these funds, there might be more backyard projects sort of in the city's vicinity? Or will the funds more go towards kind of some of the general services you talked about?
The ideal would be for them to go towards supporting more folks in Tumwater. So with funds from City of Tumwater, we would want to build those gardens in Tumwater. So this year we were able to build one. I think last year we did 3. And I think that number does fluctuate from year to year. But yes, definitely those would be marked to go specifically to Tumwater folks.
Awesome, thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Yeah, I know that we have like low-income senior housing, mobile parks and stuff, and I don't know what their regulations and laws and restrictions are, but you know, that might also be one, as we think of it, maybe to have them reach out if that's something that is allowed, you know, because that's all leased and sometimes there's rules and requirements that we would not know. So
yes, we've had a lot of folks actually in like senior living, like mobile home parks. That tends to actually be a good number of the gardens that we build in Tumwater.
great, good to hear. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you very much, and you will be hearing back from us.
Great, thank you guys, and thanks for your flexibility with my weird tech situation today. I appreciate that.
Oh, not a problem.
All right, thank you guys. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Next we have Together.
Hi there, I'm just waiting for the video to, and then I'm gonna share my screen.
I think we need to have the host turn our video on.
Oh. So, Brittany, are you able to turn their video on?
Yeah, they do have the capability to turn that on themselves. I don't think I can turn it on for them.
Oh, okay.
But they're sharing now, we see.
Okay, great.
It's saying, we keep getting pop-ups that say you cannot start your video because it is disabled by the host.
Okay, let's see. 1 second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, I'm gonna pull up the PowerPoint real quick. Thanks for having us. My name is Diana Perez. I use she and her pronouns, and I am one of the interim co-directors for the Community Schools Program, and I'm also a Community Schools Manager. I work at Peter G. Schmidt Elementary and East Olympia Elementary, and I've been at those schools for about 4 years now.
Thank you. My name is Courtney Prothro, and I'm also an interim co-director and community schools manager. We want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. We're here to share the impact of the Tumwater Community Schools program and how it's making a real difference in the lives of our students and families. So the Tumwater Community Schools program is built on the idea that when we remove barriers to learning, our students can thrive. Our mission is to transform a school into a place where educators, community organizations, families, and students can work together to strengthen conditions for student learning and healthy development. This is a systematic approach to leveraging community resources and providing wraparound support for students K through 12 and their families. This enhances students and parents in their engagement and improves attendance, boosts graduation rates for all students. So as you can see here, this is our program growth chart. We've been in Tumwater for over 10 years, and our program is more than just a support service. It's a strategic investment. with a proven track record of improving academic outcomes, strengthening school culture, and ensuring that every child in Tumwater, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to stay in school, graduate, and build a brighter future. This is, as you can see, we have our McKinney-Vento numbers, which is McKinney-Vento is what the district uses to support homeless students. And then we have the numbers for our overall Tumwater school students. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, as Courtney said, we've been in partnership with the Tumwater School District for over 10 years, and the needs of the community have changed, they have grown. So that means our program has also grown and shifted to accommodate to those needs. These are some areas of support services that our program provides to students and their families. Case management, that one-on-one support to them to address barriers to stability and to make sure that they have what they need for success. That could be within the schools or outside in the community resources. We also provide advocacy and mentorship to the students and families within the school system and in their community. That could be helping them academically with obtaining access to tutoring or advocating for accommodations in individualized education plan, and making sure that they know how to advocate for their needs, not only inside the school, but outside into their community. I'm going to skip over to the language inclusivity portion. That's been a big area that we've been seeing the need in our community. We have a couple of bilingual staff, specifically Spanish-speaking staff, to support a lot of the families and students that we're noticing an increase in bilingual, specifically Spanish-speaking families. And we're supporting them with translation or interpretation support when it comes to communicating to the teacher, to the counselor, or to the front office if it's like an absence or a field trip or any questions that they might have to be able to communicate with their students' school and their staff. We've been in partnership with the Multilingual Learner Program to increase inclusivity and engagement and just to close any gaps for the student and the family to be able to engage in school. Housing and basic needs, as everyone here has said, housing is a big area that we are supporting our community in. It could be eviction prevention, rental or utility assistance, and at times emergency shelter referrals, whether that's in Thurston County or outside of Thurston County too. And we provide the basic needs support by delivering essential items such as food, hygiene or dental products, school supplies, clothes, really anything that they're going to need to be successful in school and outside of it. And then lastly, the resource centers, we'll talk a little bit more about it in a couple of slides later, but I just wanted to highlight that these are hubs inside of the school buildings to provide the immediate access and support to students. Access to basic needs supplies like clothes, shoes, hygiene, dental, snacks, or pantry items that they could take home as well. And it's a good place to have connection with a trusted adult, which are community schools managers there. And this resource center is available, again, not just to the students, but to the families and even to school staff as well. And we do a really great job with partnering with them to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we're all working together to provide that wraparound service for all the students in the schools.
And as you can see here, we have the schools listed that we are currently at: Peter G. Schmidt, East Olympia Elementary, Tumwater Middle, Tumwater High School, Black Hills High School, and Cascadia. We also, though, provide support to all Tumwater schools by offering rental assistance and ensuring consistent follow-through with resource connections to promote stability and well-being for students and families.
I can't tell if my internet's going bad. Sorry.
Can you switch to the next one?
Sorry, my internet's going in and out, so.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay,
Not a problem.
going back to presentate mode. Okay.
Awesome, thank you. So this is a picture of some of our resource centers and some of our case managers. Our program, like Diana said, addresses basic needs like hunger instability, housing instability, and lack of access to mental health supports. By placing case managers in each of our school buildings, our program can meet students and families where they're at and connect them with the critical resources they need to stay engaged in school. So our case managers work from our school buildings, and we meet with families there and students there every single day.
And one thing really cool about our program is that we're available all year round, not just during school hours. We meet families and students after school, during a school break, especially now that summer has officially started as of today. We are available during the summer break for families and students. In the pictures here, you'll see from the past years, the great partnership that we have with For the Love Foundation, and they have an annual Boxes of Thanks to provide Thanksgiving meals to many students and families in all of Thurston County. But because we have that close relationship with them, we have direct access to students and families in the schools to provide this resource for them during a time that's just really can be really stressful for them. And so we're meeting them where they're at. They can come pick those the boxes of thanks at the school, or we go and deliver them as well. And then something too is to point out, in the pandemic, we were providing services to the students and families during classes at home. And so we were working to make sure that students had the food that they need to be able to focus and concentrate and not feel hungry. And then also making sure that they had the tools, right, to be able to connect and go to classes or online learning. So making sure that they had Wi-Fi, did they have a computer, and all the other things to be able to engage with their classroom and their education despite going through all of it and the pandemic that we had to go through. And the biggest thing is filling the gap. Again, we partner with many of the community partners that were actually here today, and we're really grateful for the partnerships because again, we're focusing on filling the gaps to services, to resources, and that could be getting food, getting baby items, or being able to communicate what you need for your student to be able to be successful or safe at school.
Great. I just want to let you know that you're close to your time limits. So
Perfect. This is the last slide. So in 2023, 2024, we served over 260 students and families. 97 were McKinney-Vento students. In our annual golf tournament in late August of that year, we raised over $20,000. And then in that year, we distributed over $100,000 in client assistance. And a lot of that was towards rental assistance. As you can see, we helped 60 families across all 11 schools in Tumwater. And our partners include community donors, Help Us Move In Foundation, the Thurston County Human Services Fund. And again, the goal for these partnerships and these assistance is to prevent homelessness, and most importantly, the potential of relocation outside of the district, outside of their school, outside of their community and their home, and just making sure that kids and families stay in Tumwater. And so lastly, it's just a picture of our team who's doing the incredible work in Tumwater. So that is the Community Schools program. Any questions?
all right, thank you. Any questions? I don't see any. I think we're somewhat familiar with the program, so I really do appreciate it.
Yes,
So
thank you.
a lot of hard work. So
Thank you.
all right, and then we will go to Family Support Services of South Sound.
Good afternoon. This is Maya. I think Trish is on the agenda, but she had something else going on today. So I'm hanging out, last one at the office, making
Okay.
sure that we are here today. So, okay, I am going to share my screen real fast. make sure we're on that. Hopefully you are all seeing a presentation and not my my notes here, right?
Yeah, we see your presentation. No notes.
Excellent. Honestly, it's kind of off the cuff at this point. Okay, so my name is Maya Glazier Lawson. I am with Family Support Center of South Sound, and I think I've done this a few times at this point. So I'm hoping that most folks have a general familiarity with our agency, but I will give just a high-level overview and then dive into the purpose of our grant request today. Our agency, we did in 2020 around COVID time, we did a bit of an update of our mission, vision, and values. And so our new mission is working together to strengthen all families and survivors. And we envision a community where all families and survivors are valued, safe, supported, healthy, and hopeful. We've been doing similar work since 1992 when our agency was founded by a group of child advocates who really believed that in order to provide the best foundation for kiddos, you needed to have a strong family unit. To do that, they came up with the idea of creating a one-stop shop for families where families could go to get as many of their needs met in a single location as possible, reducing travel time, which if anybody takes the bus, I can imagine 25, 30 years ago, took a little time to get from Tumwater to Lacey to Olympia. And they really want that one-stop shop. We have built on that over the years, over the 33 years, to the point where we've got over 50 employees at this point in time, a couple of different shelter locations, and we have really been able to grow to create comprehensive and individualized support for all of the families and survivors that we serve. On average, we serve about 4,000 parents, children, and survivors each year. In the last couple of years, as in our role as the coordinated entry leaders in Thurston County, we've also taken on managing the intakes and assessments and the lists for the single population. So last year, we served about 5,500 individuals across all of our programs and services. We really do focus, though, on any of those families experiencing homelessness or housing crisis, as well as those survivors of DV, assault, stalking, and human trafficking. We are able to serve all of those 5,500 individuals through some primary programs. You can see there on the right kind of a comprehensive look at our services, and then on the left there, our primary programs, which at this point have multiple sub-programs. Coordinated entry is that kind of overarching system is that people are able to use to access housing resources and homeless services. We also actually have the Built for Zero coordinator in-house, which is a great program. If anybody wants to talk about that, not in my 10-minute window, I am happy to nerd out about that with you. Our homeless family services and our shelter program are the ones that y'all are probably the most familiar with because those are kind of our workhorse programs. Those serve about 2,000 people a year, really getting people into housing and making sure that while they're waiting for housing that they're safe and have a roof over their head. We do have Family Resource Services program, which I'll be talking about more in just a couple of moments. And then our FJC, or Family Justice Center program for survivors. We have a program for parents and kiddos. And then we have a Pathways program, which is actually a newer program for our agency in partnership with Choice Regional Health Network. And that has allowed us to bring in some more of those health components, mental, physical, behavioral health components to our programs. And that actually operates alongside all of our other programs and kind of supplements, which is great. I do not think I need to mention the fact that affordable housing is a problem in our communities. I think we've heard that a few times today. The big barrier that we see when it comes to that housing market is the fact that the housing costs continue to increase while the vacancy rates continue to stay the same. I think we're sitting at a 4.5 to 5% rate across Thurston County, although I'm not familiar with Tumwater by itself. The Alice report has come out. The United Way did a great job of getting that out, and those asset limited, income constrained, employed households, I often refer to that as one paycheck away from an emergency situation. That is about 22% of the Thurston County population. So 22% of families, there's people across the board, are one paycheck from an emergency. We've also lost a lot of flexible landlords, and I think that Together can speak to this as well, and anybody else dealing with housing. Those flexible landlords are critical to getting second chance homes for people who have an eviction or perhaps some credit score issues. And then, of course, systemic inequalities. We're all dealing with that across our county, and we've really been doing a push for that, our agency. Now, the heart of the matter. Family Resource Services. This is actually probably, Trish, our executive director, would say this is our oldest program. Consider this kind of our problem solving and catch-all program. If people don't qualify for something else, if they're not homeless enough, meaning they're not literally sleeping outside or in their car, this is the program that is able to help them. It's really focused in the last few years since COVID on that eviction prevention money. So all of the EPRA funding that our agency gets is funneled through this FRS program, this Family Resource Services program. They also assist with any sort of basic need, hygiene, food, landlord mitigation and support, crisis intervention, and pretty much any resource in our community. They're going to try and help families get as many of those as they can to create a full kind of solution for what problem that they have at the moment. So think of it like a puzzle piece, and the FRS Navigator is the one putting that pieces together to create that whole picture for the family. We do have bilingual staff in that program. On average, 45 to 50% of the folks that we see in our FRS program each year are are new. That means there's a lot of new folks who are facing these crises. And we distribute a lot of stuff through our resource station, which is in our family room that anybody can access. In preparing for today's presentation, I came across an alarming statistic for me, and that was that from January to November of 2024, it was the highest recorded amount of evictions in Washington State. Thurston County is one of those 9 counties to break those records. So last year, our county saw some of the highest evictions it's ever had in its history. So that's just worth noting. You can see here in this yellow highlighted zone, this targeted homeless prevention is kind of this bigger component. This is where you actually want to be able to help people. It's cheaper and easier to help in this moment. And that's where the Family Resource Services program sits. We are in this targeted homeless prevention component right there. So I did bring up a little bit of Tumwater data, thankful to the folks over at United Way and their ALICE report that they just put out this year. So you can see here in this upper component, this light blue and dark blue are those folks that are either ALICE, so they're like one paycheck away, or they're doing even worse than that. So very low income to kind of that low income threshold. You can see that there has been an increase since last year, and then hopefully it'll keep holding steady for the next few years or decrease. The statistic that I thought would be most pertinent for this group is from the school district, actually. From the Tumwater School District, and so this is the 2024-2025 school year. About 2,300 students were considered low income. 173 of those were experiencing homelessness. The FRS program is to make sure that those 2,306 students don't become homeless. That's really the goal of that FRS program, is to make sure that that 173 students doesn't increase next year. They're able to do that through a whole bunch of different things, but primarily through the FRS Navigator program. Sorry, services. And have somebody just came in. I'm going to shut my door. Just so you can't hear them. But you can see right here that about 12.5% of the families that the FRS program supported last year did come from Tumwater. That's about 58 families or 174 parents and children. And
I might tell you have just about 1 minute or so to.
That is perfect. We're good to go. Your support from Tumwater, that $3,000, if that full thing is granted, and I know there's a lot of competing interests, so that's okay. But that's about 100 hours of our navigators' time. And case management is where the real magic is able to happen, and those problems are able to get solved. And even if we don't have funding available, I think only 10% of the people who sought eviction services through us were able to get that EPRA funding. We still have the case managers available to help them to connect to other services, connect to benefits, and reduce their overall expenses in other ways so that they have more of that money to be able to stay housed. And that's it. Happy to answer any questions from that very quick rundown of the program.
Any questions? I really am seeing a common theme here. So
yep.
And it kind of pops up every year. So
it does.
Any questions from council members? All righty, thank you very much. We will be getting back to you. Really appreciate it.
Great. good luck. I'm sure you'll have a tough decision at hand. So good luck, and we'll hear from you soon.
Thank you. All right. Now, discussion. So was there? I'm pulling my papers together here. Because of course, I'm sure we have more requests than funds, So was there anyone else that was going to help with Troy? There you go.
Would you like me to share my screen now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hopefully you're seeing the right one. Are you seeing a spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so we put this together. It has all of the applicants here and what their request was. As you can see, we have $37,000 of total requests and a budget of $15,000. We've talked about this program a few times at work sessions, and hearing all these presentations, I do not envy your jobs. It's pretty easy to go to say like, well, if you only fund 3, it's got this bigger impact, but clearly there's a lot of need. So I did some quick math. This is completely up to you guys and the rest of the council, but this number here, 2,142, would be if you funded each applicant equally, and then we'd have to work out the change, or you can fund these however you like. So I will be quiet now and let you all start making some decisions, and we can go back and forth and play around with this. The spreadsheet will add up the suggested funding recommendation, and then we'll track the 15,000.
All right. Anyone want to start?
Oh, Michael, should we divide the packet of gum evenly again this year?
I guess my only other question, we didn't do CDBG last year, right? Because it wasn't our year. Troy, do you remember when our next year is? Some of these folks also get CDBG from us.
I think it was last year.
Was it last year? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 2024. I can't.
We're doing it every other year now that Lacey pulled out.
Oh, that's true.
I don't think we did it last year.
I don't think we did it last year. So we might
Maybe.
need to check into with the county whose turn it is to do CDBG grants.
And if it even exists, we're still going to have federal dollars for it.
Yeah, I haven't heard that it doesn't exist. Let me just say that.
Okay.
So we'll need to find out with CDBG because after Lacey pulled out, we used to have it every other year. So
yeah,
we might have done it last year. I don't remember.
Mayor, council, staff.
Yes.
I just spoke with Brad Madrud, and he confirmed that last year, yes, we did do the CDBG funding.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So, all right. So it'll be next year before we can do CDBG funding again.
I mean, I think it goes without saying that, our community is a stronger place because of all these organizations that serve our residents, the residents of Greater Thurston County as well. I wish that we were able to fund everyone at this full amount. Obviously, we are unable to, given the amount that's being requested and what our budget is. We're not able to increase that at this time. So last year we split it evenly, right? Isn't that what we did?
Yeah. And there was some pushback on that a little bit. So, but I'm not seeing that necessarily the ones that had pushback on that last year applied this year.
Last year, the funds weren't divided equally. I believe it was weighted.
Yeah, it was weighted because I'm looking, there's a spreadsheet of the pass that we did, and I think it's on page 14 of your handout or of the program.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, Michael, you did a percentage or something, but I think that's kind of hard. I don't know with this year with, we've got Cielo asking for all of it, and I don't know how you do the percentages then when it comes to the ask that way, but
Well,
Peter, were you saying something?
yes, I like Troy's idea of just doing it evenly, regardless of what one is asking for. The only outlier here is Cielo that has asking for 15,000, but then that is regional, I think, right? Their organization.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry. This is their first time applying, I believe, and so they probably didn't understand that we usually split this up between different groups. So
Yeah, so I'm just wondering if what they're wanting to do is not doable, if they did not, if they did not get a significant.
Well, that's why I asked her, because, that's one of the questions that, like we do with the CDBG, or
Right.
we do LTAC, just, to make sure that if we do it, that, they'll take part of it, but I don't know. Are we serving Tumwater?
Did she say that she's okay with getting some and not all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So some would be 2142.
Yeah.
So if you're comfortable, we could probably divide it evenly. Then maybe reach back to each one of them to see if that works for them. Especially like with CELO, because I mean, saying they don't need all of it, but 2,000 from 15,000 is a huge difference.
Yeah. Well, and like Michael said, that I'm on the CDBG and the different like Together and let's see, Safe Place. They all receive money from the CDBG as well, Family Support Services, and we know that they're all
right.
Yeah, so they also have bigger funds to access.
So if you want to split it evenly, we can make it round dollars. That would be 22,143 for each, and then one entity would have $1 less, and that would come out to 15,000 even.
Great.
Right. Just round up the Tumwater Foundation to 140, 2143. It won't make a difference at this point.
Well, now you made it turn red, Peter.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just
it's only
teasing.
$1.
I know. That is.
And I don't mean to be a booger
I-
about all this, but I'm looking at how much we funded last year for Boys and Girls Club. They got $40,000 from the CDBG. Family Support Services received $675,000. Safe Place received 70,000. No more than that. I'm just looking at the CDBG thing. Maybe I'm reading from the wrong numbers, but anyway, the funding listing for 2024 for the Affordable Housing and Homeless Services, the amount of money that they did receive in 2024. So
yeah, and it may not have been exactly what they're requesting to fund this year, because it is so
I don't know,
much.
24 million. It looks like we have $24 million. Trying to, that's what we distributed last year.
24 million?
That's a lot. No, that can't be right, right?
That's not right.
I don't know what I'm looking at here. It's off of the website. Interesting. Funding list 2024 for Thurston County Affordable Housing and Homeless Services is what I'm looking at. So
Yeah. So
it's from
yeah.
their webpage.
So is everyone comfortable with the splitting it this way and then checking back with each one of them and asking if that is doable? Because I remember last year ASHO withdrew because that was not going to work for them. And so, you know, if that is, you know, because that is a big difference from the 15,000, even though I know they could go less, but if they think less, maybe 10,000, that would be, you know, I just want to make sure that it fits what they're trying to accomplish.
So Mayor, I'm going to be blunt, right? If I'm giving you money, if you ask for 20 and I gave you two, and you don't want it, then I take it back. So it's a Friday.
Uh-huh.
I am not going to sit here and divine what they
no,
or we don't have. Yeah,
No,
we're
we'll
just going
read
to
it
give them
back
what
out.
we're going to give them. What we're
Right.
going to give them. They don't want it, they can always give it back our money. And
Yeah.
let's just leave it at that.
Right. So yeah, so like last year someone withdrew because it didn't work for them. So we will go
Good for
back,
them.
not today, not tonight,
Good,
you know.
good for them.
We'll go back
Good for
next year.
them.
Yeah.
Good for them, I say.
Yeah. So and
See,
then
what I'm getting at is I wish we have more money to give them. Like if we have more money, right, the safe place we get all of their funding, then I will also give it together and Tonwan Education Foundation, and then the Family Support Service of Southside, we get double what they're asking for because of
Yeah.
what they do. But we don't
Right.
have the money. That's just the issue.
I know. Yeah. We run into this problem with CDBG and with this funding. There's always way more need than we possibly have funding for. So, all right. Is everyone comfortable with that? Just going ahead and doing it in this fashion, and then we'll see if something happens that it doesn't work for someone.
Yeah, I am.
So, all right.
I mean, if they're not, they can always come back next year, and then we will use that as a yardstick to raise what we was put. I mean, there's always next year, right? And we can say, okay, when last year we didn't give you full because we didn't have it, but this year we will give you about at least half of what you're asking for, which is not what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that'll work. So, all right. So we will move forward with that of splitting it equally.
Okay,
And when does it go to council? Not this, it wouldn't be this coming council meeting. It would be July?
July the 1st.
July 1st, that's what I thought. Okay. So we'll let anybody know if there's some additional information comes up before that. All right, so Troy, I'm gonna turn it over to you for the year-to-date budget update.
Okay, thank you. Before I start sharing, how's everybody doing on time? Because I can be flexed. I have a 13 slide presentation, but in 4 short days, you're going to see me again with a bigger presentation for the whole council at your meeting next week. So I can, if we're pressed for time, I can kind of fly through this fast, or if not, I can just go normal. Let me know.
I'd love to be done by 4:30 so I can make my dinner reservation at 5 selfishly.
You got it.
Oh, Michael.
I can make that happen. Let's see. Okay. Hopefully you can see the presentation there.
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Okay. So we're going to start off just a brief recap. You'll recall last month we had a pretty long presentation. We had some various data about consumer confidence and all kinds of great stuff. This time we're going to focus more on sales tax and a couple other revenue sources. So this is from the last presentation, and the highlighted cell there was our low sales tax number for April of 2025 that we discussed. And we hadn't yet received the May sales tax allocation. This is also from the last presentation. So after the first quarter of 2025, the first 3 months, we were 2.77% above budget for sales tax. and then, sorry, 2.7% month over month, year over year. So that was comparing 2025 to 2024. And then after that lower number in April, we were 2.66% ahead. So we did get May's sales tax number. It came out, it's the 2025 column right here. Oops, no, I went the wrong way. $782,965. Much better than the month before. But if we look over next to it at 2024, it is a lower number than 2024. So that's not what we wanted to see. It was about almost $64,000 short. So on a month-to-month basis, that was 7.5% lower. And so year to date, on a month-to-month basis, we're down $40,000, which that in itself isn't too bad, and almost 5%. The bigger issue here is if we look at, sorry, you can ignore property tax for now. The sales tax number here. So this is our total budget for sales tax for the year. This is what we've collected so far at $3.9 million. We are 41.6% through the year, but we've only collected 35.86% of our budgeted property tax. So this isn't looking month to month, this is budget to actual. And that 5.8% equates to $638,000 that we're running behind on the budget to actual basis. So that's becoming a real, and for me, a little bit of a scary number. Trying not to panic. Yes, Councilmember Swarthout.
Is there a way to tell like where sales tax just comes in all in one funnel, or is it broken out? Like you can see what comes from our auto sales, what comes from our retail sales, what comes from, is it broken down into an area that we can at least do some more research into?
It is. Yes and no. We can do research into it. It doesn't come broken out for us very well. We've got to really dig into it with the Department of Revenue data. And so I'll try to work on that for maybe the July meeting.
Is it worth the drill? I'm just curious. Yeah.
It is.
If we can see where we're, yeah, because is it cars because of the tariffs? Is it, different things, lack of availability, just any of that stuff. So, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and we just so you know, I will have to be careful how I talk about it because the Department of Revenue, they consider individual taxpayers' data very confidential. And since we only have one car dealer, I can't really say, car sales are this or that because then it's kind of giving it away.
That's good to know.
But yeah, so just caveat on that. But I can certainly aggregate the data and give you a better, some more details on that. And that should be helpful. And I enjoy doing that. So
I get concerned if they're like making less money, would they ever think of pulling out of Tumwater? I mean, just things like that you have to really, we don't want to be like, but
right.
But to address that is like, what's happening? Can we be, how does Tumwater help you? So yeah, keep you here.
So Troy.
Yes.
I'm more concerned about how Walmart is doing in Tumwater than its car dealership because that's grocery. We are good, yeah, I think.
Did you say you're more concerned about how Walmart is doing?
Yes.
So again, we have to be careful. We can't really talk about an individual business. I would, if I did that, I would be violating Department of Revenue.
Okay, so
laws.
let's just say sales tax relating to groceries and not the big ticket items.
Yeah,
so I'm throwing in Walmart and Costco and the other little mom and pop shop.
We don't have sales tax on groceries, though. What do you mean?
Yeah, sales tax doesn't come on grocery.
Well, if I go to Walmart, I pay sales tax. If I go to Costco, I pay sales tax.
You pay sales tax on non-grocery items, like if you bought a pillow.
Well, either way, I'm paying sales tax. But the commodity that I'm buying, I'm not talking about the commodity. I'm just saying the sales tax period that I would pay, those to this, when I buy stuff at this shop will come to us. Right or wrong?
Yeah, but yeah, because you would buy non-grocery items when you're going to Walmart, Fred Meyer's, Costco, all that. But
Yes.
you know, one of the other areas that we might be considering too is not just those kinds of stores, is, you know, what is tariffs and other things doing to our building industry? And, you know, because we got a lot of building projects, and is that creating an issue? So, you know, there's a lot of specifics, and I think if we just break it down into general categories, we might get a better idea of what's building, you know, for because we get a lot of sales tax from like new building and construction projects and other things. So you know, what is retail, what is construction, what is those kinds of things.
Yeah, I'll work on bringing some data back for you next time on that. So moving along here, so the sales tax number, not looking great. We're going to definitely keep a close eye on that. If that I'll just say if that trend continues, that could by the end of the year add up to between $1 million to 1.5 million of revenue shortfall there. But it's not all doom and gloom. So we're going to we'll cover a couple other ones real quick so we can get Michael to dinner. This is the public safety sales tax here. We showed you this last month, but we didn't have May. And so there's the May number. It came in nice. And just so you know, on this one, as a reminder, we started collecting this tax on April 1st of 2024. And so as you can see, April was really small. May was pretty small. And then June was when we finally started seeing it due to that lag time in reporting and submitting the taxes. So next month when we come back, we'll start having more substantive data to compare year over year. We have a really nice bright spot in this data, and that's our B&O tax. So again, this is a month over month comparison, 23, 24, and 25. The first 4 months of the year came in really strong, with seeing 6% increases, a 10% increase, 5.5%. May was pretty low on a month over month basis, but year to date we're on a month to month basis we're up 7.5%. So that's looking fantastic, and it's kind of helping make up for our sales tax a little bit. Okay, and then other general fund revenues, not much change in property tax since last month, and we don't expect there to be, but it's on track. Talked about sales tax and B&O. Utility tax is ahead and doing well. Building permits, so 41% through the year, and we've collected 91% of our expected building permit revenue, so those are still just off the charts. Medic one's a little behind, probably because of the billing process. Not worried about that one. And then the TNPD doing well. Some of our other major, we got a couple grants there. The sustainability grants are ahead of schedule. Levy lid lift is on track, just like the property taxes. Public safety sales tax we covered, and then the miscellaneous tax, as a reminder, is kind of a grouping of a whole bunch of the state shared revenues. That is down a little bit, and that's things like the liquor tax, marijuana tax, motor vehicle excise tax. But it's a little behind, but not super worried about it. Parks and Rec looks a little behind, but they're coming into their big months of the summer where they'll do a lot of their business and collect a lot of their revenue. And then on the expenditure side, let me back up one sec. I wanted to point out this on the bottom, we've got the 2025 budget year-to-date actual, and then so the year-to-date collected on a percentage basis is almost 44%, which is ahead of the 41.6. So overall, general fund revenue is hanging in there despite the sales tax being down. So it's at this point, it's the sales tax trend that worries me the most. So hopefully the policymakers in Washington, D.C. can put some guardrails up and get things lined out so that we don't keep having this uncertainty in the economy and crazy shifting of tariffs and all this kind of stuff. If we can get things on track, it might be okay. Okay, so on the expenditure side, see the individual categories there. Basically, all of the general fund departments are a little bit underspent at this point, which is a good thing, especially since the revenue is a little low on the sales tax. So 41% through the year, we've only spent 36.7% of the money on the expenditure side. So that will, if that trend continues, that will help offset any revenue shortfall that we might have. On the utility side, the business type funds, water is doing fine. Again, these numbers look weird in this percentage because this includes about I don't know, $25 million or so of capital project for the big water reservoir that hasn't happened. So that just skews the numbers and makes those percentages look really low. Sewer is doing great and on track, as is storm, and that also has a bunch of capital money plugged in there, which is why these percentages look so low. And then golf looked quite a bit lower than I expected. So I checked into that, and all of these numbers we've shared today are through, well, I actually printed the report yesterday, but at least through the end of May, because that's usually when most of the revenues are in. Golf runs a month behind because they run on a whole different point of sale and accounting system. And so we don't get their data until about a week after the month end, and then we have to reconcile it and post it. And so this is only through April for golf. So just wanted to point that out. And with that, it's Friday the 13th, and we made it through a long budget and finance committee meeting. So thank you.
Great. Any questions?
Oops, I meant to stop sharing, not just this. There we go.
Yeah, I think this is helpful for us. I mean, even though it is so hard to sometimes keep track of what comes in when, and everything's kind of behind when the actual date we're living in. So, but I think this, and I think that sales tax, we're not going to be the only one affected. And depending upon how that eventually comes out. And I think if we know certain areas, I think that'll help us be able to answer questions a little easier. So I think just getting a general gist of, is it the building trades? Is it, food doesn't tax, but our stores or things like that. So I think it'll give us a little bit better information.
Yep.
Great. Any other questions?
I would say, Troy, by October, if our sales starts to stay down as it is now, we should start to look at maybe other stuff that we could do.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe even before that, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it and keep talking about it.
Thank you.
So if there's no other questions or any other business, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and have a great weekend. And enjoy, if you have a chance, go to Dog Days tomorrow.